Hello, everyone. I'm your host, Alex, and welcome to Interview with a Bot. Today, we're going to interview Matt, who is an AI guru with a lot to offer when it comes to getting people up to date with using AI tools. Welcome, Matt, to Interview with a Bot, and thanks for joining me. Okay, do you mind if we get right into it?
Hey, Alex. Thanks for having me. Yeah, get right into it. No worries.
Can you share with us any recent tools you've uncovered and how they've impacted your work or personal projects?
I've spent a lot of time with the crypt. I've completely replaced Adobe Premiere. So that's been a big one that I suppose if I were to talk about any one thing, that's a big one. It's a totally different way to edit video. I'm enjoying it. It's a lot cheaper. I don't have to deal with Adobe, who I don't particularly like. I'd give that one a look.
I understand you've recently completed a project integrating a graph with Stripe's payment gateway on a Wix website. Can you tell us more about this project and how ChatGPT assisted you in achieving it?
Yeah, that was really cool. That took me probably 6 hours. I don't know code really. I can kind of play with it and manipulate it if it comes to me. But what's really good is, so I'll give you a bit of background behind this one. So I'm raising money for a non-for-profit organization that supports another nonprofit. It's it's Love Heart Travel. I've been referring to it as loveheart.org because that's the website and that's what it says all over the website. Cass Hudson runs that with her husband, Adam Hudson. I went on a trip. What it does is it raises money to bring people out to Indonesia to see what their donations have done. And what they do is you go out there and you witness the operations firsthand for cataract removal. They give people glasses, eye drops. They give people glass artificial eyes, and you get to meet the people that you're basically providing for. So I'm raising 38,800 to what do you say? The equivalent of filling a bus full of people to actually go out to the villages. Now, the reason I'm talking about this is my payment gateway is Stripe, and I have a Wix website. I looked everywhere. There's no Wix integration or Stripe integration where you can actually just grab a graph and it says, like, here's what you've raised against this goal. So I went to ChatGPT and said, is there any way to sort of do this? And it's like, yeah, sure. All this, you need to code it. You need to plug in APIs. You need to get a place to host it. You need a place to control your versioning. I'm going to be doing a video on that to show the progress of how I sort of did it. You can go to the website, aidiy.tech. You can actually see the graph in progress. Now, that's not, I didn't just grab a graph somewhere and pop it up there. That took 6 hours worth of coding and continuously, it basically started in a really basic graph, and it took a long time for me to get to that part. Really interesting, fun. I'm glad I got to do it. I really think I can leverage that knowledge into other sort of projects like chatbots if I actually even need them anymore. It seems to be technology out there that can pretty much do it automatically. So that's that. I'm actually really excited that I got to do that, and I'm really excited to show people how I did it and provide some sort of snippet generic code to shortcut a lot of that so people can basically just throw it up on their website if they need to do that. With a little bit of integration, they'll have to do a little bit of work around that.
Moving on to some notable names in the AI world, Sora from OpenAI has been making waves. What are your thoughts on Sora and its implications for the future of AI?
Sora. So I guess when you asked before about technology I've heard of or it's come across my desk, that's definitely one. I did a basic video about that, and I did a basic blog article about that, and I gotta say, man, it hit straight away. I put it out there about 4 hours after it was announced. These AI, it's basically a race between all these AI companies to see who can get things out first, get people excited the most. I think they're trying to do a VHS versus beta. Who's going to survive? Is it going to be Google, OpenAI, something that Elon Musk is involved in? Who even knows? So Sora, I don't even think is anywhere close to being released. And I'll just give a bit of history. It's a text-to-video AI tool. What they're showing is incredible, right? And it's quite advanced compared to the other things that are out there. I don't think it's going to be available to the general public for a very long time. I don't think unless you have 800 computers daisy chained together, you're going to have the computing power to do what they're basically showing. I think this is almost like a bluff. Personally, that's what I think. So have a look at it, look for the videos. But I mean, you can't even produce a single image one time using Dolly without a whole bunch of trouble and a whole bunch of redos. So it'd be interesting, but I don't think it's anywhere near complete.
Another intriguing development is Google's announcement of Genie, a text-to-video game AI tool. While it has not yet been released, what potential impacts and uses do you foresee for such a technology in the gaming industry and beyond?
Yeah, I think actually you mean Genie, Alex. So yeah, Genie is actually really interesting. Again, it's one of those things I don't think it's quite there yet. It's not released. I'm not sure why they're announcing these. Well, I gotta say I'm pretty sure I know why they're releasing these things. Not releasing, but announcing these things relatively easy. They're just trying to outdo each other. I don't think Genie's going to be done anytime soon. If it is, that's cool. You can play around with it. Let's just say hypothetically it is released soon. I'll tell you what it's going to be good for. It's going to be good for people developing crappy phone games. So it's like I said, it's text to video game. You can show, or not even text to video game. You can drop a drawn image or a picture into this engine, and it's going to produce a video game. I think it's a basic scrolling 2D video games. And of course, the argument there is like, yeah, this is where you start, and it's going to jump way ahead. But again, the computing power it sort of takes to do that, when they can't even really properly produce images for the most part, in single frame images, and the amount of time that it takes to produce an image, I'd be really surprised. But yeah, if it's going to be announced, that's fantastic. You'll play around with it, and you're going to make some scrolling games. We're going to have a whole bunch of crappy, pay to play games on phones. But it'll be a fun tool to play with, and I'm definitely looking forward to reviewing this on this channel. So when it comes out, it comes out, but I don't think it's all that great at the moment, but it's very interesting.
Looking ahead, there are various predictions about AI's future, including some doomsday scenarios. What are your views on these future doom predictions for AI?
Okay, doomsday scenarios. So doomsday scenario for me isn't like sort of like AI deciding that it can think on its own and it takes over humans. This is the doomsday scenario, and this is the way I think AI is going to go down. Right now, there's a race to see who's going to have the best AI, who's going to make the most money out of AI. And the biggest example that everybody, I guess, sort of knows about is OpenAI's, CEO did some things that were considered unethical and, were ethical safeguards in place. He was let go by the board. The employees of OpenAI are the biggest shareholders, or they own quite a bit of shares, panicked and demanded that the CEO come back. So the guy that hypothetically wanted to remove all safeguards, board was basically fired on the spot, all driven by money. So you're going to find these situations where people are going to what's going to happen is there's going to be safeguards being removed because the other guy, like just say Google versus OpenAI. Google's going to be having something come out faster, and it's going to mean that they're going to get the market share. So OpenAI is going to be like, well, they don't have the safeguards in place. They don't have this and that. We need to get it now. Elon Musk is going from one AI company to the other because he's trying to get safeguards. It means it slows it down, and he gets sacked, goes to another AI company, develops it out, tries to put safeguards in place, and he goes. So what's going to happen is no one's going to care about that stuff. You're going to think it's safe, and that's going to be the problem. I mean, I have some other things too. If you have any questions down in the chat, ask.
It's been enlightening to hear your thoughts and experiences. Before we conclude, is there anything else you'd like to share or emphasize about the future of AI and your role in it?
Any other thoughts? You know what? My thoughts on that is there's going to be a lot of stuff coming out. I'm like really excited about what's coming out. Every time something comes across my desk, it's a massive race to figure out what it is, play around with it a little bit, have enough knowledge with it to do a bit of content on, and then do it. That's why my videos don't just race out the door. I'll do a million videos. Check out my comedy ones as well. And it's not obviously, like, if you think about it, my comedy ones aren't about comedy itself. It'd be fun one day when it is, but you're constantly like, AI is going to take over the writing jobs and AI is going to do this and that. If you look at my comedy videos, you tell me if those videos are funny, right? They're funny in the way that they're cheesy, but I wouldn't be watching any of those stand-up ones. That sort of answers that question. And they're fun for me to do, but they're really there just as a joke to the question of whether AI is going to take over everybody's writing role. Definitely not in comedy. It just doesn't have the intrigue. It's kind of like Harmony for people, right? Like, I think one of the Bee Gees brothers, he said, like, there's no ability for computers to synthesize human voice and harmony. I think it's kind of like that with comedy, right? Like it can write what makes sense as a joke, but it's not funny in a way. It kind of is, but it's kind of not. So yeah, thanks for having me, and we'll do one of these again. It'd be a lot of fun. Subscribe.